Hello, welcome to Turk Fortune. I am Kaan Beylen, and in this video we are talking about setting up a business in Turkey. First step of setting a business in Turkey as a foreigner is deciding about the type of company that you will pick. There are two suitable company types for a foreigner in Turkey listed as Limited Liability Company and Joint Stock Company. These are not the only types of companies in Turkey, but they are the only ones that you should care about. Both of them provides legal personality, which can have its own debts and bank accounts aside from the foreigner entrepreneur's real personality. Apart from some special occasions, shareholders are not liable for a company's debt. But let's discuss the differences of these two company types to have a better understanding before jumping into the Turkish market. 1. Limit of shareholders. While there is no maximum shareholder limitation for a joint stock company in Turkey, a limited liability company can only contain 50 shareholders at most. And it means that someone who wishes to go for a public offering in the future, going with a joint stock company is the only suitable option. Meanwhile, it is impossible to go public with an LLC. 2. Debt liability. Before further explanation, it will be better to tell the difference between public debt and private debt in Turkish law. Public debt is the money you owe to government, like taxes or social security contribution fee, and private debt is basically the money you owe to third private parties like other people or companies in the market. So basically, both the shareholders of joint stock companies and limited liability companies are not liable for the private debts of their companies. But when it's come to public debt, a significant difference is arising. In a joint stock company, shareholders who are not entitled as board of directors are not liable for the public debt of the company in person. In other words, if a shareholder is a member of the board of directors, then he or she is liable for the company's public debt. On the other hand, in a limited liability company, all shareholders are liable for public debt such as taxation, social security contribution, etc. in person, according to the proportion of their share ratio in company's capital structure. 3. The executive authority. Well, executive organ of a joint stock company is board of directors, while an LLC's executive organ is manager or managers. Practically, execution of corporate orders is way faster when it comes to an LLC. 4. Paid capital limits. For a joint stock company, paid capital must be at least 50,000 Turkish liras at minimum. Quarter of the promised capital must be paid during the registration, and the rest of it must be paid in 24 months as of the company's registration. On the other hand, for a limited liability company, paid capital must be at least 10,000 Turkish liras, unlike the joint stock company. There is no capital payment requirement during the registration day, but whole capital must be paid in 24 months. But aside from all that, attention please. Minimum paid capital limit requirements changes if the foreign shareholder wants to take active role in the company as a manager or a member of the board of directors. We will explain it later in the video. 5. Transfer of shares. Imagine that you established your company and it is time to get some new shareholders on board, or it is time to kick the current ones out. In both ways, you have to know how to transfer shares. It's a lot easier to transfer shares in a joint stock company because the only thing necessary is sole decision from the board of directors. On the other hand, it is quite harder to do that in an LLC because notarization, registration and publication in trade registry are necessary for the transfer of shares in an LLC. 6. Annual burden of red tape. Registration and publication of the annual meetings are mandatory for a joint stock company, while it is not mandatory for a limited liability company, which means less red tape every year. 7. Selection of executive authority. In a joint stock company, there is no requirement for shareholders to involve in the management of the company. To be honest, board of directors of a joint stock company can be fully selected from outside. Yet, for a limited liability company, at least one of the shareholders must be involved in the management of the company as a registered manager. So now, We have the base knowledge about the differences of company types according to Turkish law. Most of our clients are preferring to establish a limited liability company in the beginning because it is easier to manage and switching into a joint stock company is always possible in the future. In addition to all of this, please double note that if you choose to start the limited liability company, it is necessary that at least one of the shareholders must be a registered manager. So, if you want to personally operate in Turkey as an active manager, then you have to apply for work permit in Turkey. To avoid that necessity, you can team up with a Turkish shareholder who is willing to become the manager, but otherwise you will be the manager and also will need work permit. According to the international workforce law, if the company's foreign shareholder wishes to actively work in Turkey as a manager or a member of the board of directors, then there are some requirements to meet. You must deposit 100,000 Turkish lira as a paid capital. So if you are going to be a manager or a member of the board of directors as a foreigner in the company, then forget about the before mentioned minimum capital limits. The new minimum limit is 100,000 Turkish liras. 2. You must hire at least 5 Turkish citizens within the second half of the first year of your company. Oh, by the way, in future, you will be obliged to hire 5 Turkish citizens to be able to hire 1 foreigner employee continuously. 3. To be able to apply for work permit extension after the first year, the company's background must be clear in respect of tax and social security contribution debts. 4. If there are other shareholders, the foreigner shareholder who will acquire work permit must own at least 20% of the shares in general, and such shares must worth at least 40,000 Turkish liras. Considering the minimum paid capital limit is 100,000 Turkish liras, then it is logical for such shareholder to own at least 40% of the shares that shall worth 40,000 Turkish liras. Here's a smooth plan for you. If you do not want to deal with such requirements, then you should find a person who has Turkish citizenship to be entitled as an active company executive with authority, or you can become a Turkish citizen. Until now, we have only discussed the establishment part of the company. Please note that every company also needs a diligent accountant, which will start by registering your company to the tax office. Please let me know in the comments if you want us to make a video with one of our accountants about corporate taxation. Last but not least, you must get a business license from the municipality of the city that you wish to operate in with your company. Otherwise, you will be fined and eventually closed down in the worst case scenario for not having your license. Also, please remember that every business have a special regulation in Turkey and you should learn the law before facing the circumstances during business. Thanks for watching the video and please subscribe if you want more of this content. See you on the next video.